Hello everyone, Just Podcast TV is here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified on new content.
Episode 293. Proud of himself. That afternoon, Zach was once again found by Heath. This time, he was very straightforward. Didn't you want to work with our company? I can promise you, it's very simple. You can push the profits of the QZ group to 20%, and I can help you at the meeting. After that, you can still take 70%, and it won't affect you at all. How about it? Zach pretended to be stupid. Then what are you trying to do? Your group originally took 30%, but you helped to reduce it to 20%? Besides, if I still take 70%, then where did the remaining 10% go? Heath knew that Zach was playing dumb, so he replied snappily. You should know very well that there is no such thing as putting in effort for nothing in this world. Zach suddenly understood and quickly took out his phone. So, that's how it is. Come, let's take a video and leave some evidence. I will give you a copy of the evidence. This way, you won't turn against me in the future. When he saw Zach take out his phone to ask for a video, Heath was immediately anxious. How could this be evidence? He quickly said, When did I say I wanted to ask you for a profit share? Don't slander me. I never said that. Zach chuckled and asked, Then you just said you want to help me push the profit of QZ Group to 20% and to forget about the remaining 10% in the deal. Where did the remaining 10% go? You have to give me a clear explanation so that I know where to give this gift to, right? Heath stared at Zach hatefully. I didn't say anything. And I think you are a liar. You don't have any skills at all. You are just a swindler, the kind who would do anything for free. That's why I refuse to cooperate with you at the meeting. It turns out that my eyes are very sharp. You're a swindler. You want to scam the company's profits. Behind the camera, Heath's eyes were as sharp as a torch. After scolding Zach fiercely, he waved his hand and left. At this time, Heath was very angry. He didn't expect Zach to be a piece of meat that was so hard to deal with. However, he had a new idea. Zach wouldn't let him see the money, and he wouldn't let Zach see the money. Heath was secretly proud of himself. He believed that Zach would definitely have to come begging eventually, and without him, he was likely to fail on his own. The more he thought about it, the more pleased he became. Heath's mood also improved a lot. After returning to the office building, Heath was full of joy along the way. He felt that he would definitely make a fortune this time. It was nothing more than a delay, so he was in a very good mood. However, on the way here, everyone looked at him obediently. It was very strange. Heath gradually felt that something was strange, but he couldn't tell what the problem was. When he pushed open the door to his office, he saw that the office was in a mess. It was as if someone was ready to move. There were messy documents everywhere, as if he had been robbed. But in reality, what he had suffered was not a theft, but an investigation. A staff member walked up to Heath and showed him his work permit. Then, two more people came from behind Heath and blocked his escape path. Heath, come with us! Heath was stunned. Episode 294. Out of tea. Heath was taken away. This news had spread across the entire company. And it wasn't just Heath who was taken away. It was also his group of lackeys. None of them had escaped. All of them were taken away. The group of people led by Heath was completely finished. Many of the company's seats were empty. If they wanted to work normally, they would have to promote their other talents again. Hence, under the recommendation of the chairman Mac, Luna became the company's executive vice president and took over Heath's position. This was a very extraordinary matter. Luna was only in her 30s this year, but she had already become the second in command of the company. This was very impressive. Of course, this was not because of her father, nor was it because of other people's contributions. It was because she relied on her own ability and her passion and love for work to win this position. Regarding this, no one in the group had any objections. After the high-level meeting ended, Luna went to Mac's office to talk for a while, and then she couldn't wait to find Zack. She didn't care that there were too many people in the workshop. Luna directly dragged Zack away and entered the control room. The workshop director was talking with the dispatcher in the workshop when Luna waved her hand and pointed outside. "You guys go out and talk." The workshop director and the dispatcher could only lower their heads and hurry out. Everyone knew that Luna had become the second in command of the company, and she was in the limelight. Perhaps even if they worked hard, they would be able to reach Luna's current height. However, Luna did not care about these ideas and did not mind what others thought. Right now, she just wanted to understand one thing. "Zack, Heath, did you really pull it off?" The night her foot was injured, Zack told Luna that he would handle this matter. At that time, Luna did not believe him. She thought that Zack was bragging. Now that she thought about it, Luna still felt embarrassed and panicked. But this did not stop the shock in her heart. If this matter was really done by Zack, then how much power would Zack have? But in Zack's opinion, this matter wasn't done by him. It wasn't done by the old fox. It was done by Heath himself. If he didn't reach out his hand, he wouldn't be able to pull him down, even if he wanted to. If his own nefarious actions were the cause of his downfall, he would be courting death. Zack waved his hand and said with a smile, "I was just bragging that day." However, Luna knew in her heart that this was definitely Zack's doing. After that, the two of them chatted about cooperation. Then Zack was brought to the chairman's office by Luna. Although Heath was no longer in the way, the chairman had to make the final decision. Luna was very clear that she was just an executive vice president and definitely could not interfere in larger company matters alone. Although this matter had been discussed for a period of time, Zack and Mac, the two leaders of the groups, had never met before. Therefore, after seeing Zack in the office, Mac was especially polite. He even stood up to welcome him, smiled, and quickly walked forward to hold Zack's hand. "Mr. Marquez is a person with a lot of gusto and charisma. He is definitely a model person." Mac invited Zack to sit on the sofa, and the two of them chatted passionately. As for Luna, Director Marquez's teacup is empty. Mac spoke very softly, but his gaze was very serious. What he meant was that they should hurry up, and he treated her as a waiter. This made Luna very depressed. Zack sat there and drank tea. She, the dignified executive vice president and the second manager of QZ Corporation, was waiting by the side. She was like a young maid, so unhappy. Episode 295, Revenge. It was the same as what Mac had said before. The company was not his alone. Therefore, the matter of the partnership could not be settled just by slapping the table. It still needed to be approved by the higher-ups of the company. However, the higher management meeting held by the company this time was different from the previous two meetings. Not only were there no obstructions from Heath and the others, there were also 3 more people added. Zack had brought the CEO of another automotive company, Carson, as well as the CPO and the CQO, which were the Chief Production Officer and the Chief Quality Officer, Walker. When Mac saw Carson, his eyes lit up. They were both old men in the automotive industry. So, how could he not know Carson? After greeting Carson warmly, Mac said to Zack, "Director Marquez, you are amazing. You even invited Chief Carson to come out of the mountain?" Since the person in charge of the automobiles company was Carson, Mac was more confident in this cooperation. Carson's ability was definitely not something to brag about. With him controlling the automobiles company and working with the QZ group, Mac really felt 100 times more at ease with this partner. However, after Walker entered the office, Mac was even more confused. He knew Walker too well. He knew Walker too well. He was the workshop director who was promoted by the old leader Sean. However, just as Sean left, Heath, who had just descended from the sky, kicked Walker out. It was a series of kicks that landed on the position of employee monitor. He wanted to adjust his work, but he did not want to have a conflict with Heath over such a small matter. Of course, this was also because Walker only knew how to work and not do things for others. But he never would have thought that the chief production officer and the chief quality officer of the other automotive company was actually Walker. He had not even had the chance to use such a great talent, yet he was actually dug away by Zach. When he arrived in front of Walker, Mac sighed and said, Walker, I haven't had the time to have a good chat with you. Before Mac could finish sighing, Walker said with a straight face, we had plenty of time to chat before, but you never thought of talking to me. These words made Mac feel awkward in front of others. Indeed, what did you do earlier? Zach dug me out, and then you came to chat with me. Don't you think it's too late? Walker was a straightforward person. In the past, he was at the company, but now, after leaving the company, he was still the same. Regarding his ability to do things for others, he still seemed to be a zero. Looking at Zach again, Mac could not help but admire this young man. He really knew people well and did good deeds. Arranging Walker to supervise the manufacturing and production, Walker's ability to handle Zero was definitely the greatest advantage. Not only would it not have any negative effects, but it would also increase the production ability and the quality of the products to a high degree. What this person used was really poisonous. Without Heath's hindrance, the cooperation would be much more straightforward. After Carson explained, Walker expressed the stringent requirements for the quality of the product. After that, Zach and Mac represented the two companies and signed the preliminary cooperation agreement. After all, Dusty's hydrogen power system was still at the final stage. They had to wait until the sample cars built by the QZ group were tested in various aspects before they could sign a more formal contract. At that time, the occasion would be much grander and more formal. At noon, the QZ car held a banquet at the hotel under the company's jurisdiction. Everyone ate and chatted to their heart's content. This matter came to an end smoothly, and it also made everyone heave a sigh of relief. Episode 296, Can't Drink. After the lunch banquet ended, Zach asked Luna to handle the departure procedures in the factory. Since the matter had been settled, there was naturally no need for him to stay any longer. However, his legend remained in the factory workshop. My God, that Marquez is Zach. He is the chairman of the Dream Group. His net worth is over 10 billion. I have also heard that Chief Marquez is working with our company. That's why he came here in such a way. Tisk. No wonder he was so successful at such a young age. He did everything himself. Even the inspection was personally done to the front line of the workshop. How could there be an error in his judgment? Walker also came forward and was taken away by Director Marquez. I heard that Luna got to be the second in command of the company because the old executive was taken away and she was the best option for the position. When Marquez was still around, I saw that he looked pretty good and I wanted to introduce my daughter to him. But after thinking about it, I decided not to. It's not a big deal to work in a mixed factory at such a young age. My daughter is a university student. I didn't expect him to be a big boss with a net worth of 10 billion. If I had known earlier, I would have introduced him. Regarding the rumors and gossip in the workshop factory, Zach had also heard about it. He had heard about it when he was with Luna that night. He was ready to leave, so he brought 2 bottles of wine with him before parting. He wanted to see Sean. This old man did not accept any gifts. It was a rule that he had never broken in his entire life. Naturally, Zach would not break it when he was in his later years. However, he really had to thank Sean, the old man. If it wasn't for him leading the way, he wouldn't have done it so quickly. At the very least, Zach wanted to sit in the study with Luna and smoke while discussing business. This was not very possible. In the elevator, Luna teased, "You should go back and work for another 2 days. I overheard one of the workers wanted to introduce you to his daughter. Zach replied with a smile. I don't want to. My heart is with you. I just want to be with you. Luna even regretted saying too much and teasing him. This teasing was not important, but it left her in an awkward position. Fortunately, the elevator door opened very quickly, so this topic naturally ended forcefully. Zach opened the door and saw Sean, who had already prepared the food. Sean was originally quite happy that he dug out the vermin in the company and successfully talked about cooperation. But now, when he saw Zach holding the wine, his old face, which had been carved with the vicissitudes of time, was filled with displeasure. Director Marquez, I welcome you. But when you bring the things back, I, Sean, will never take anything from others. Zach did not care. He continued to happily change his shoes and entered the room. Old man, this is not a gift. I am preparing to fight with you tonight to drink. Then you see? We can't drink this wine. Sean laughed heartedly. Yes, we must drink it. In the following time, Sean and Zach chatted as they drank. They talked about their youth and the company. They chatted for 2 hours with each other for 2 cups of wine. In the end, they successfully chatted until they were in a daze. Let's put it this way. If it wasn't Zach here, Luna wouldn't have had the strength to bring the old man back into the room. This old man can't drink much. After putting the old man on the bed and settling it down, Zach returned to the living room and muttered softly. Episode 297. All that's left is money. After leaving Luna's house, Zach went to find Walker. Walker did not need to go back with him at all. The office was still at QZ Group. In the bedroom, Zach saw Walker's wife, who was resting after the surgery, and put down the gift that he had brought. They were all nutritious tonics. They were not expensive for Zach, but Walker and his wife had only seen them on TV. Walker did not dare to take them. Director Marquez, you have already lent us $200,000. These things are too expensive. It is nothing. Just as Zach finished speaking, Walker's wife said, Director Marquez, I really appreciate you. I cannot thank you enough. There's nothing else I can do but bow down to you. How could Zach accept such a big bow? He quickly held Walker's wife down on the bed. You think too much about this. You really don't need to do this. After much deliberation, he finally stopped Walker's wife, who insisted on kowtowing and thanking him. After that, Walker's wife said, Director Marquez, we really can't take the things. You can take them back. Zach replied, Take care of yourself. Walden can only concentrate on revising and preparing for the college entrance exam. These gifts are not worth much. The child's future is worth a lot. If you don't recover because of your health and make Walden worry about you, and he doesn't get a good result in the college entrance exam, wouldn't that ruin the child? One had to say that Zach's advice was especially skilled. He could always grasp the most fundamental problem. After pulling Walden out, Walker's wife suddenly did not know what to say. Only then did the couple barely manage to pull Walden out. They were his henchmen, but they also expressed their gratitude to Zach. After staying in Walker's house for a while, Zach told Walden to study seriously, and then prepared to leave. Walker sent Zach downstairs, and Zach handed him a cigarette at the door of the unit. The two smoked as they talked about the work here. I am completely at ease about work. What I want to tell you is that if you have any difficulties in the future, just go and find Carson. He will also have to stay here for a long time. As for the salary, I have already discussed it with him. I will give you $500,000 a year. Walker's eyes were wide open at this time. Director Marquez cannot do that. Whatever I do, I will get a salary of $500,000 per year. Walker was really anxious. He thought that his job was only worth $100,000 a month at most. Before Zach came tonight, he had told his wife that there might be $150,000 in addition to the year-end bonus. But who would have thought that Zach would directly change the salary of $150,000 to $500,000. Walker really did not dare to accept it. This money was really too much. He did not even know how he could use the strength of this annual salary of $500,000. In other words, what right did he have to dare take out this $500,000 annual salary? He still wanted to refuse, but was stopped by Zach with a wave of his hand. I see this sum as very fair and enough to keep you and your wife in good health. Besides, it gives me the chance to discipline you by reducing your pay a few times before you and your wife will live comfortably. Zach's half-joking and half-truth words are exchanged for Walker's solemn promise. Director Marquez, don't worry. If I can't do my job, I'll admit it even if you fire me. But the annual salary doesn't need to be that much. Facing Walker's request again, Zach patted him on the shoulder, turned around, and left. This matter is settled. If you feel uneasy in your heart, just treat it as an uncle giving his nephew some goodwill. Episode 298, Habit. He looked at Zach's back as he left. Walker was stunned. He didn't understand what the last sentence meant, but in the next moment, he suddenly understood and scolded himself for being stupid. Zach was clearly referring to Walden. He had to snatch his nephew's throne. It was a shame that no one knew about it. Otherwise, it would be so embarrassing. After being embarrassed for a while, Walker watched Zach's back as he left. Then he went upstairs. When they returned home, the couple looked at their heads and sighed. Rector Marquez was really a good person. That night, Zach took a plane and left. He didn't stay for the night. When he landed, it was already past 2 o'clock in the morning. Donnie, who had arranged to come back, was waiting outside the airport. He picked up Zach and sent him back to his residence. After returning home, even though Zach was tiptoeing, Madison still walked out of the room. Not only did she walk out, but she also had a dagger in her hand. But after seeing that it was Zach, she threw the dagger back to the bed in her bedroom. "Have you eaten? I'll make some food for you." Zach waved his hand. "No need, Madison. I already ate on the plane." Madison responded and sat on the sofa with Zach. "No one has come to the house recently, and no one has encountered any problems on the way. It's quite safe. Don't worry." With Madison around, Zach naturally felt at ease. After that, he lit a cigarette and said to Madison, "Madison, Michael and Kyle have gotten into a fight." As an elder in the family, Madison naturally knew about the small matters of the Marquez family. After hearing Zach's words, Madison smiled. How could Kyle bear to reveal himself? He has been a recluse for more than 10 years, and now he is revealing his tale before the critical moment? This is not right. Zach smiled bitterly. Karen and Manser are both dead. I made Kyle believe that Manser is his biological son. Madison was stunned, and then she raised her thumb. "You are ruthless. This move of yours can drive a man out of hiding and to find the culprit. It can make Michael be beaten to death by Kyle." Zach sighed and leaned back on the sofa. He looked up at the sky. "I don't want to either. After all, they are grandfather's descendants, but it can't be helped. Being born in this kind of family seems to be glorious, but in fact, they have to bear a lot of pressure every day. Sometimes I especially envy you and Michael. How nice it is to be like you two. Either you protect people or you kill people. You can bear the risk of your life at any time. In the end, there is still a high degree of freedom. But what about me? I lost my old man. My stepmother was lost, and the old fox dug a hole for me to jump into. I had no choice but to jump. Even if I found a parent, they would be tied up and carried away. I had no choice but to leave. When I can't sleep at night, when I think about it carefully, I don't seem to have anything other than money. I'm so poor that I only have money and no meaningful relationships." Zach smiled bitterly. Madison sighed. Only money was left. It sounded like a joke, but thinking about it carefully, there was nothing except money. There was no real freedom. It was really pitiful. You seem to really be inferior to me. I don't lack money either. Although I don't have as much money as you, it's enough for me to squander. I only follow Kate leisurely every day. I don't need to worry about using my brain, and I don't need to worry about being schemed against by others. You're living quite a tiring life. No one can help you share the burden. Zach smiled bitterly and shook his head. How can you find someone to share the burden? Who can share the burden for me? Other than the old fox, no one else has the ability to share my burden. However, the old fox is scheming this. How can he share my burden? It's not fun. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. After snuffing out his cigarette, Zach sat on the sofa for a while. Madison did not say anything else. She knew what Zach needed right now. There was no one to chat with him. It was better to stay quiet for a while. So she patted Zach on the shoulder, got up, and went back to her room to sleep. This was the heavy burden of a super large family. Whoever carried it would know that if their bones weren't hard enough, they would be crushed to pieces. Otherwise, why would Kyle play dumb for so many years? And why did Michael appear arrogant on the surface and be careful in the dark? Because under the pressure of such a super large family, if he ever made a wrong move, it was very likely that he would suffer a crushing defeat. There were only 3 of them standing in front of the seat of the patriarch. Zach didn't know how the old fox was able to withstand such treacherous pressure. No wonder the old fox and the others didn't change their expressions, even though the mountains themselves might be collapsing. They had been enduring that kind of pressure for so many years. Anyone else would have gotten used to it. It was not a habit that he was born with, but a habit that was forced out of his body. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. You'll be fine after you wake up. Zach did not think too much about it. He did not go to any room that night. He stayed on the sofa in the living room all night. The next morning, Kate, who came down from upstairs, accidentally found him.